Welcome back to This Day in Scottish History. I'm your host, Colin MacDonald. Today, we journey back to the 1st of February 1856, when a fierce storm swept across Scotland, bringing down two legendary trees tied to one of Scotland's greatest heroes, William Wallace. These trees, an oak and a yew, stood at his reputed birthplace in Elderslie, serving as silent witnesses to the legend of Wallace and the country's long struggle for freedom. Elderslie, a village in Renfrewshire, is traditionally held as the birthplace of William Wallace, the warrior who led Scotland against English rule in the late 13th century. Among its most cherished landmarks were the Wallace oak and the Wallace yew, ancient trees said to have been standing since the time of Wallace himself. The Wallace oak, in particular, was a massive tree, believed to be over 700 years old by the time of its fall. Local tradition held that Wallace and his men took shelter beneath its broad branches, using it as a meeting place while planning raids against the English forces. Some even claimed Wallace hid within its hollow trunk, evading capture. The Wallace yew, equally storied, was said to have been planted around the time of Wallace's birth, growing alongside his legend. On the 1st of February 1856, a violent storm tore through Scotland, its fierce winds uprooting trees and causing destruction across the land. Among the casualties were the Wallace oak and yew, which had stood for centuries as symbols of Scottish resilience. Their loss was deeply felt by the people of Elderslie and beyond, as it seemed to sever a living connection to Wallace's time. By the mid-19th century, the oak had already been in decline, with parts of it decaying. However, its fall was met with mourning, as many saw it as a sign of the passing of Scotland's old guard. The yew, though smaller, held a similarly revered place in local lore. While the storm may have taken the Wallace trees, it could not erase the hero's memory. Wallace's legend continued to grow, particularly in the 19th century, when figures like Sir Walter Scott helped romanticise Scotland's medieval past. The 1800s also saw a surge in Scottish nationalism, and the destruction of the Wallace trees only reinforced the desire to preserve Scotland's history. Today, Elderslie remains proud of its connection to Wallace. A monument to him stands in the village, and the site of the trees is still marked as a place of historical significance. Though the great oak and yew are gone, their memory lives on in Scottish folklore. So, as we remember this stormy day in history, let's reflect on the deep roots of Scotland's past, both literal and figurative. Some trees may fall, but the spirit of Wallace stands unshaken. Thanks for tuning in to This Day in Scottish History. Join us again tomorrow for another journey into Scotland's remarkable past. I'm Colin MacDonald. Haste you back.